Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it's time for another franchise ranking video today. And today, guys, I'm going to be ranking one of my favourite franchises of all time. I'm pulling my favourite franchise involving boxing, and it's for the Rocky and the Creed movies. So guys, there are 6 Rocky movies and 2 Creed movies, and I'm going to be ranking all the movies together from best to worst in my personal opinion. So, if you guys don't agree, that's absolutely fine, but please respect my opinion just like I respect yours. Okay, so starting with what is my all-time favourite out of all 8 of the movies, my all-time favourite movie is for none other than 1976's Rocky. The first movie is franchise directed by John G. Avildsen. And I really adore this movie, guys. It was absolutely amazing to watch, and yeah, because during my holiday in New York City in February, I binge-watched this whole franchise. It was definitely a very nice franchise to watch, and this was definitely no exception, because this was definitely a really beautiful start to a franchise. So the good qualities is that I think it has a very phenomenal cast of actors. So, for example, I really loved Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa, the title character. This is, in my opinion, my favourite role of Sylvester Stallone, absolutely. He really nails the role of Rocky. He's absolutely brilliant as him. So perfectly cast, in my opinion. And as well as him, I also love his supporting cast as well. For example, I love Adrian, who is his love interest, played by Talia Shire. She was also, in my opinion, perfectly cast as Adrian. And yeah, and Talia Shire played her so brilliantly. And yeah, this is one of my favourite roles of her, alongside her role as Connie in the Godfather trilogy. And she was absolutely excellent as Adrian. And she really get great chemistry with Rocky. I also love the addition as well of Burt Young as Pot Ollie. He was also a great addition to the cast as well, and and both he and Sylvester Stallone have the distinction of appearing in all 6 of the first movies of the franchise. before he did not return for the Creed movies, and yeah. He definitely played Paulie really well. Definitely one of the best parts of the movie, of course, and yeah, and he played him so well. Obviously, he wasn't in the Creed movies, I think, probably because, Burt Young was getting old, because he's in his 80s now, so it's understandable, and yeah. And other good things as well is, I also love the addition as well of Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed, who is Rocky's opponent in this movie, and I don't consider Apollo to be a villain, guy, despite being an opponent to Rocky. I just consider him to be an opponent, not a villain, and he was played so by Carl Weathers, and this is one of my all-time favourite roles of Carl Weathers. Other roles of his, I love characters like Greef Karga in Mandalorian and Dylan in Predator. And he was definitely really amazing as Apollo here. I also love the addition as well of Burgess Meredith, may rest in peace, as Mickey Goldmill, who is Rocky's trainer. Mickey was an amazing character, and probably my favourite role of Burgess Meredith, absolutely. He played him so well in this. And every other cast member was also very good as well. Other good things as well is, I definitely really love the fight scenes. They're absolutely brilliant, and they're very, very well choreographed and absolutely excellent to watch. Really amazing to see, and for a 1976 movie, it holds up so well. And the cinematography is absolutely fantastic for 1976. It's brilliant, and I also as well really adore the montage scenes. They're definitely probably one of the most iconic parts of a franchise. Definitely really great to watch. And the music composed by Bill Conti is also amazing, and it has one of the most memorable theme songs, which is Gonna Fly Now, which is definitely a very great track to listen to, absolutely. And also as well, this movie also, despite it having many serious moments, it does have some touches of humour, and in my opinion, it works perfectly. Although unfortunately, I feel the humour was getting a bit way too much in the sequels, and yeah. But it was executed perfectly in this movie nonetheless. So this was definitely a really phenomenal start to the franchise, guys. I love this movie, and I would score this movie a flat-out 10 out of 10. Easily, in my opinion, the best of the franchise. And now on to my second favourite. My second favourite movie of this franchise, guys, would be for the first Creed movie, released in 2015, directed by Ryan Coogler. And again, I also really love this movie. So what I like about this movie is that I really, of course, love the cast. So I, of course, love the addition of Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed, who is Apollo Creed's son. He's such a great character. Now, sure, he does have flaws, but he's a very likeable character, and Michael B. Jordan portrays him absolutely amazingly, and considers to be one of his best roles of all time as well. He does such a great job playing him. And I love how in this movie we get Rocky's character development becoming full circle in this, because I love how in this movie he's a mentor. I do definitely really love that role. He's basically taken up the role of Mickey, and it works so well in this movie. And he successfully passed the torch on to Adonis, which was absolutely brilliant how he passed the torch on like that. He becomes a mentor of a new up-and-coming boxer, and he's completed his hero's journey. And that's absolutely amazing. And also, the cinematography is also amazing, and Ludwig Göransson's music is also very good. Although I do prefer Bill Conti's music more. I think Ludwig's music was very good in this. And also as well, I also love as well how the opponent, who is actually a real-life boxer, guys, which is really awesome. So yeah, I love how Tony Bello played a boxer in this, and he's actually a real boxer. And he's also a character that you love to hate as well, yeah, which is pretty cool. And the pacing is also really great for me, with just 133 minutes as well. And yeah, it's a very good movie, guys, absolutely brilliant. I had a really fun time watching this, and we also as well got the addition of Bianca, who is the girlfriend of Adonis, played by Tessa Thompson. I consider this to be her best role as well, guys, my favourite role of her. In my opinion, she's way better in this than as Valkyrie in the MCU, and she's definitely way better in her role as Agent M in Men in Black International. Way better than that role, in my opinion. I think probably the only bad quality I could say about this movie is that, you know, it doesn't add up to a first Rocky movie, but still, I love this movie, guys. Ryan Coogler did a phenomenal job directing this movie, and of course, 3 years later, he'd reunite with Michael B. Jordan when he directed Black Panther, and Michael B. Jordan played Killmonger in Black Panther, so yeah. So how do I rank this movie, guys? Once again, I'd rank it a flat-out 10 out of 10. Absolutely brilliant movie, guys. Really love this movie. On to what is my third favourite, guys. I'm going to go with what is, in my opinion, the best out of the sequels to the first Rocky movie, and that will be for 1979's Rocky 2. Which is directed by Sylvester Stallone himself, which is pretty cool. Because as well as playing Rocky, he directed and also wrote the stories, which is really cool. So yeah, definitely knew what he was doing. So a good quality I will say about this movie is that once again, the cast is still phenomenal as always. You know, Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burgess Meredith, Burt Young, Carl Weathers. They were all phenomenal in this movie, guys. Absolutely brilliant. And I love the story as well, how it's a follow-up to the first movie. It was also definitely very close in tone to the first movie as well, and felt like a very good direct continuation of it. Cinematography is once again fantastic for 1979 standards, and yeah, I think it's probably my second favourite movie of the year 1979 after Alien, guys. And yeah, and I love as well how Rocky is even more sympathetic in this movie compared to the first movie, because he's a lot more going on in his life, which is why, in my opinion, the stakes are much more higher in this movie as well, because he marries Adrian in this, and unfortunately she ends up in a coma when she's giving birth to their son. So the stakes are very high in this movie, guys. And yeah, and we of course also get to see Rocky, what he does when he spends money, which is definitely a very interesting concept to see as well. And this movie also has many emotional moments, and plus as well, once again, the final fight is also definitely really epic to watch, guys. Really fun to see as well. Although, in my opinion, one of the bad qualities could be that some of the fights could have used some work, because the choreography wasn't as good as the first movie, in my opinion. And yeah. But then again, well, guys, when it comes to the ending of the movie, I think Rocky's final line, which is, "Yo, Adrian, I did it," is probably one of the most iconic lines in a franchise, guys. And yeah. However, another bad quality I will say, aside from the weaker choreography, is also a bit of a continuity error, because despite the fact this movie is a direct sequel to the first movie taking place shortly after the ending of the first movie, you can notice that Adrian's hairstyle is different, and also that Paulie is also slightly thinner than when he was in the first movie. So yeah, it's quite confusing considering this is supposed to take place right after the first movie ended. So yeah, but I can level by quality slide, guys. This is easily, in my opinion, the best out of the Rocky sequels to the first movie, and I'll give it a 9 out of 10. So yeah, now on to what is my fourth favourite, guys. I'm going to go in with the second Creed movie, which is 2018's Creed 2, which was directed by Stephen Caple Jr. And once again, this was definitely a really great movie, guys. A great follow-up to the first Creed movie, and yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. So So my good quality with the movie is that, once again, the cast is amazing. So you've got Michael B. Jordan as Adonis returning, and Sylvester Stallone as Rocky, Tessa Thompson returning as Bianca, and many other great characters. And also, what's cool is this film also brings back back Ivan Drago from the fourth Rocky movie with Dolph Lundgren reprising his role. It was really good to see him return, and we even get his son Victor, who is the opponent to Adonis in this movie. And I think the idea of Adonis wanting to fight Victor Drago to avenge his father's death from the fourth movie, which we'll get to in back quarters of Rocky 4, was definitely a very great concept. And yeah, and he definitely did a great job avenging his father, absolutely. And music by Ludwig Göransson is once again amazing as well. And yeah, and also the training montages, like I've said before, are definitely really great to watch. They're just absolutely awesome to see as well. And the boxing match is definitely very suspenseful to watch as well, very intense, and yeah. And it was definitely as well, a good concept to show Adonis getting beaten up and defeated at one point, but then returning as well. So he did like that as well. It made the characters even more likeable as well in this movie. They're once again still likeable, and yeah. And plus as well, in my opinion, guys, this movie also gives us what is, in my opinion, the perfect ending of this entire franchise, because I love how the movie ends with, it ends with Adonis winning the match, and of course, he's with Bianca, and they've got a daughter as well now. And in addition to that, Rocky also reunites with his son, Rocky Jr., who is played by Milo Ventimiglia, who reprises his role from Rocky Balboa, and he's got a son now. Rocky's son's got a son, so that makes Rocky a grandfather. And in my opinion, that completed the stories of both Rocky and Adonis Creed. That was definitely, in my opinion, a great closure to their characters. And this is why, guys, I don't want to watch the planned third Creed movie, because in my opinion, it's not necessary. In my opinion, this movie perfectly closes the story. So, yeah. I think a little bad quote I could say is that sure, it doesn't help to the first Creed movie, and also as well, I think the idea of Adonis having a daughter in this movie, it kind of like borrows the same element from Rocky 2, where Rocky had a son during the movie as well. So yeah, kind of a bit of a rehash in my opinion, but I can let that slide though, because this is still my fourth favourite, and I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. Great movie. And now, what is my fifth favourite, guys? So, before the Creed movies, this movie, in my opinion, was the great ending of the Rocky franchise, which is 2006's Rocky Balboa, directed by Stallone himself. So the good quality of this movie is, like, in my opinion, this was definitely a way better movie than the previous movie, which we'll get to in the last place of this ranking. And it was definitely really fun to watch. So the good qualities is the cast is once again really amazing. Like, Sylvester Stallone returned as Rocky and still did a phenomenal job playing him, you know. In my opinion, no one can play a role better than him. No one, in my opinion. In addition to that, other cast was also good. Like, for example, Burt Young was once again really amazing as Paulie. Absolutely. This was unfortunately his last appearance in the role, because Paulie, of course, has died by the time Creed happened, so you rest in peace, Paulie. But he was still great to watch, and definitely one of the highlights of the movie, in my opinion, alongside, of course, Rocky and Adrian. And plus as well, what's also cool is we've got an opponent called Mason Dixon. And Mason Dixon was a very good opponent, guys. And he's much more down to earth and believable than many of the enemies before. And I like how in this movie, he and Rocky got to interact outside of a boxing ring, which was really cool. And he's also cosplayed by a real life boxer, which is Antonio Tarver, which is really awesome. We got a real life boxer to play the opponent. The soundtrack is once again really amazing to listen to, guys, by Bill Conti. And this movie also, in my opinion, saved the Rocky franchise, because before this movie, the franchise was in limbo for, I think, was it 16 years due to the horrendous performance of a previous movie. And yeah. And in my opinion, it saved the franchise. And then 9 years later, we of course got our first Creed movie. And plus, in my opinion, the fight scene in the movie, in the boxing, feels like a real-life boxing match. That's how it felt to me. It was absolutely brilliant. Like, it felt very, very intense, and it felt so real. It was brilliant to see. Like, it felt so real and authentic. It was absolutely brilliant. And considering Sylvester Stallone was 60 when he did this movie, is absolutely amazing. And, like, in my opinion, he's aged really well. Because in this movie, he still got it as Rocky. Absolutely. And also, what's cool is in my match, you've actually got a real-life sports announcer. in that match with, Michael Buffer. He appeared as himself as the announcer, which is really awesome. And also as well, it was definitely a good movie, and before Creed movies, it was definitely a great way to wrap up the Rocky story as well, before Creed movies came out. However, on to Bad Qualities, so I was pretty disappointed this movie killed off Adrian off screen. Didn't really like that, to be honest. I think she deserved better than that. But I think Talia Shire could not reprise her role, I think maybe due to scheduling conflicts or something, so yeah, or maybe other reasons, so that's understandable. But I think Adrian deserved a better way to go out than this, to be honest. And also, in my opinion, the title is also quite unfit because the movie is, of course, called Rocky Balboa, and it can be quite confusing for maybe newcomers to a franchise because it didn't have a number in the title, so you could probably think it's a remake or a reboot of a franchise. But thankfully, I was a newcomer to a franchise, and I knew this was a sixth movie because when I was getting the movies ready to watch, I checked the order they come in, and this was the sixth one, so I knew this would be the sixth movie in the franchise, thankfully. So yeah, but still, for some newcomers, it can be quite confusing. So we should have just called it Rocky 6. Would have been much better than that, in my opinion, to be honest. So I'd rate it out of 10, guys. I'd rate it an 8 out of 10. Definitely a great movie. And then on to what is in 6th place for me, guys. So in 6th place would be the third Rocky movie, which is Rocky 3, released in 1982, directed once again by Sylvester Stallone. So yeah, now, in my opinion, it's a good movie, guys, but in my opinion, it's a lot weaker than the first two movies of Rocky, in my opinion, but still really good. And of course, this year is always its 40th anniversary. So yeah, on May 28th, it'll be 40 years old. Wow. So good quality. The cast is still very good in the movie, guys. So Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burgess Meredith, Burt Young, Carl Weathers, and many other great castings as well. And also, we got introduced to who is probably my favourite villain in the franchise, guys, which is Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T. And this is my favourite role of Mr. T, guys, and yeah. And Clubber Lang was definitely one of my best villains, and I love how he's an absolute wrecking machine who is very brutal, and he's a villain that you definitely love to hate because he's just so brutal, guys. And he's also the first villain to actually defeat Rocky in their first fight, which is definitely saying something, isn't it? Yeah. The fight scenes are also very fun to watch, guys, and what's awesome is that at one point we get to see Rocky fighting Hulk Hogan, which is really awesome. Definitely very fun to see. And but content music is also very good, guys, and I do also love as well how in this movie they further develop Rocky and Apollo's friendship, and they developed it much better, so they're now very good friends, guys. They used to be opponents, and now they're very good friends, and yeah, their training scenes were definitely very fun to watch in this movie. And in addition, this movie also introduced a very iconic song, guys, which is "I Am a Tiger" by Survivor. This was definitely my favourite song of the franchise, and probably the most well-known of it, and I really love that song, guys. It's definitely really great to listen to. Really fun. And also, this movie also has a very heartbreaking moment, and probably the saddest moment in the entire franchise, which is Mickey's death. Like, this is definitely a very sad scene, guys, and it made me not like Clubber Lang as a character because he, of course, pushed Mickey over and it caused him to get really ill due to his ill health. So yeah, so he was partially responsible for Mickey's tragic death because he pushed him over, and yeah, and also the thing about quality of this movie, guys, aside from Clubber Lang causing Mickey's death, is I didn't like as well how the movie appeared to neglect Rocky's humble origin from the first two movies. And also, the movie also appears to completely ignore Rocky's eye injury from Rocky 2, so that's quite confusing, in a way. And that kind of, threw me off a bit, how they appeared to be ignoring the previous movies a little bit there. But, nonetheless, guys, I still enjoy this movie somewhat, but in my opinion, it's weaker than what I've just covered, so I'd rank it a 7.5 out of 10. So it's still a good movie, guys, but, still weaker. Then we go on to what is, in my opinion, the second weakest of this franchise, or maybe even second worst, maybe. And this is for the fourth installment, which is Rocky 4, released 3 years later in 1985, directed once again by Sylvester Stallone. So yeah, so I did not hate the movie, guys, but I still thought it was pretty good. But yeah, I think it was a lot weaker from the previous movies of this franchise. So yeah, and we'll get to why. So the good qualities is that the cast is still very good in the movie, returning, like Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burt Young, Carl Weathers. They were all still very good in their returning roles, and I also love the addition of the new villain being Ivan Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. I've already talked about Drago before when I talked about Creed 2, but I will say as well that this is my favourite role of Dolph Lundgren, absolutely. He played him so well in this movie. It's a shame that 4 years later he'd go on to play the Punisher in a very bad 1989 movie. But he was still great in this movie, in my opinion, as Drago. He was very entertaining to watch, and yeah, and of course he's also cheated because he takes steroids as well. So what an absolute cheater he is, and yeah, definitely a villain you love to hate as well because of that. But cinematography is once again fantastic for 1985. It's absolutely brilliant and great music because Eye of the Tiger returns. And in addition to that, we've got many new songs. For example, you've got Burning Hearts, which is definitely great to listen to. And also as well, a song called Hearts on Fire in the end credit scene. Definitely a great song to listen to. And music by Vince DiCola is also very good. Although I do prefer Bill Conti's music way more. I think Vince DiCola's music was very good. And the fight scenes are also very well made, in my opinion, very well choreographed, definitely very fun to watch. And it also has some forms of humour, apart from some humour which I personally did not like, guys, and yeah. And I think the final fight scene where Rocky defeats Drago is definitely very satisfying to see, really, because Drago did something pretty bad, which I definitely hated about this movie, so on to bad qualities movie, guys. I think probably my biggest complaint about the movie is probably the introduction of a character that I don't like, which is the robot called Seiko, who belongs to Paulie. Like, Seiko, in my opinion, was a very annoying character. He didn't even fit in the Rocky franchise at all. And, like, that, pulled away any form of, like, entertainment in those scenes, really, because Seiko was very annoying and absolutely pointless. But, thankfully, guys, in the director's cut of this movie, released in 2020, Sylvester Stallone cut Seiko out of it, which I was very happy about. So yeah, thank you very much, Sylvester. I appreciate that. Because Seiko was very annoying, guys, so no purpose whatsoever. And also, and especially because of that, it can make me pretty campy at times, a lot more than previous movies, and yeah. But thankfully not as campy as the next movie. And yeah. And also as well, Ivan Drago, of course, kills Apollo Creed in this movie, and that scene was definitely very disturbing and traumatizing to watch, guys. It was very heartbreaking to see Apollo get killed like that. It was absolutely brutal to see, very disturbing. In my opinion, he deserved much better than that, but thankfully, in this movie, Rocky defeated Drago, and in Creed 2, Adonis Creed defeated Drago's son, so yeah. Thankfully, there was vengeance, at least. However, guys, so how do I rate this movie out of 10? Well, I rate the theatrical version a 6 out of 10, but because Sylvester Stallone erased Seiko in the director's cut, I give a director's cut a 7 out of 10. But now we get on to what is, in my opinion, the absolute worst Rocky movie of all time. And it's a sequel to this movie, guys, which is for 1990's Rocky 5. Oh my god. This movie was absolute trash, guys. I really hated this movie. Oh my god. Like, what the hell was this movie, guys? This wasn't Rocky at all. Didn't feel like a Rocky movie at all. Like, oh my god. And like, what's sad, guys, is you get directed from the first movie, John G. Arvidson returning to direct it, and this movie absolutely sucked. And Sylvester Stallone has even admitted that he hates the movie as well. He hates it, and yeah, and I can't say I blame him, because he only made it because he needed money, and yeah. And now, it absolutely sucks. So yeah, goodness me. Honestly, this movie is just absolutely rubbish. Like, just so stupid. So the good qualities I could say about this movie, if there's only a few, is that, I guess Sylvester Stallone is probably the only main heart of the movie. He's still very good as Rocky in this, like, no one can play Rocky better than him. And I guess Talia Shire was also good as Adrian, although sadly, guys, this was her last appearance in the franchise, and Burt Young was also very good as Paulie, once again. And it was also somewhat of a good pleasure to feature a flashback of Mickey, and yeah. It will be his final appearance in the franchise, and yeah. And I guess Bill Conti's music is also very good as well, and the relationship between Rocky and his son Rocky Jr. is somewhat heartful, because Rocky Jr. was actually played by Sylvester Stallone's son, Sage. May rest in peace. So, yeah. However, on to the absolute bad qualities of the movie, guys. So, like, this movie doesn't even feel like a Rocky movie at all. Like, it does anything at all to feel like a boxing movie because the story was so weak. It was ridiculous. Like, this all started because Rocky leaves Paulie in charge of their finances, which no one would do. And furthermore, Rocky gets diagnosed with brain damage, and which is pretty stupid because at one point, guys, he manages to beat the villain called Tommy Gunn in a fight with little repercussions whatsoever to his brain. Doesn't get any damage to his brain during the fight. Thankfully, guys, in Rocky Balboa, it retcons this as a misdiagnosis, thankfully. And yeah, and also, the climax of this movie, guys, is absolutely stupid because it's not a boxing match, it's just a street brawl. So, like, what the hell is this? Street Fighter? Oh my god. And, like, and also, it also feels way more campy than the previous movies. Like guys, if you have Rocky 4 as campy, wait to see this movie because this is even more campier. Oh my god. And the final fight scene was just ridiculous, guys. You know, it didn't feel like Rocky at all. And also, the tagline also says go for it. Yeah, he does not go for it. Rocky does not go for it at all. Like, go for it because this movie is anything but Rocky. Oh my god. It's just ridiculous. And I also didn't like the performance by Richard Gants as George Washington Duke. Like, he was just absolutely ridiculous and I couldn't take him seriously. And also, do you dare get me started on the scene in the movie which is involving the parking meter line? Oh god, that was just very inappropriate and revolting to listen to. Probably the worst line in the whole franchise. Like, so cringy to listen to, and due to the lack of, you know, the charm and boxing like the first 4 movies had, this feels more like a soap opera than an actual sport pivot movie. Doesn't feel like it at all. And this gave a very unsatisfying conclusion, which nearly killed Rocky franchise. And so 16 years later, we got Rocky Balboa movie. And the pacing was also very bad. It got so boring, guys. Like, for 104-minute movie, it felt way longer than it actually was. And guys, because I was so bored, I fell asleep watching this movie because I watched this at my hotel on the night before my flight home to the UK, and I fell asleep because I was so bored. And I watched the rest of the airports before the flights, and yeah, I didn't like this movie. I was disappointed. I thought it was so bad. Like, oh my god, this movie was just so terrible. And this movie is also unnecessary as well. It was only made to make money, and that's it. Just like Oscar Stallone admitted, he only made it to make money. And plus, guys, this movie also has no impact on the Rocky franchise at all because you could literally skip this movie when you watch Rocky 4 and go straight to Rocky Balboa, and it wouldn't change a thing. Especially because it retcons Rocky's brain damage diagnosis as a misdiagnosis. So yeah, you could literally skip this movie and it wouldn't change a thing. So yeah, now, but because of Sylvester Stallone and also the chemistry with his son and the fact that we're making a music about Bill Conti, I'd give this movie a very bad 3 out of 10. So this movie absolutely sucks, guys. Worst Rocky movie of all time. Yeah, I hated it. So yeah. So guys, this is my franchise ranking of the Rocky movies from best to worst. So number 1 best would be Rocky from 1976. Second place would be Creed 2015. Third place will be Rocky 2 from 1979. Fourth place will be Creed 2 from 2018. Fifth place will be Rocky Balboa from 2006. Sixth place will be Rocky 3 from 1982. Seventh place will be Rocky 4 from 1985. And last place, and definitely in least place, Rocky 5. So, you know, drill, guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, just comments how you guys would rank the Rocky movies, or how you guys would rank them. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies coming in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press 1 piece, or you can go in the description, and I'll see you all later.